Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Robcast, Prevenge of the Nerd podcast. Hey, everybody, it's Rob Sacchetto coming to you from my vast movie room. I am the inventor of the zombie portrait and zombie artist at large, and also a pretty good, pop culture guru type of guy. I like the pop culture. Like to talk about it. Today, since we are in my movie room, my expansive movie room here, I want to do a movie review on Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, and the reboot. Who doesn't like a reboot? Everyone. People always shit on the reboots before even seeing them. You're ruining my childhood, yada, yada, yada. I've heard it all. It's like, yeah, but the original movie still exists, by the way. You can still watch it, so I never got that. But anyway, there's a lot of things I don't get. I don't know why people need so much toilet paper right now. I don't get it, but anyway, that's another topic for another day. I watched these two movies yesterday. Watched them again last night. In fact, so they're pretty fresh in my mind right now. I like doing that, since so I don't confuse anything like maybe between movies or kind of remember things wrong or whatever. I've seen the original, I think, like maybe 4 times or so. The reboot I've seen twice. I've got a pretty good handle on both. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying this review might actually piss a few people off, might trigger a few people, but you know what, guys? I'm being honest. I'm not paid by like studios or I don't know anybody who made the movies. I'm just gonna give you my honest review of them, and that's it. That's all I can do. So let's start with the first one. The first Nightmare on Elm Street. It's considered a classic. It's a Wes Craven film. Of course, Robert Englund playing the role of Freddy Krueger, what's her name again? Langenkamp, Heather Langenkamp. Is that her name? Yes. Yeah, Heather Langenkamp. She's obviously a huge I guess star when it comes to the horror canon and stuff like that. I always see her listed at cons and things like that. So let's get to the review. By the way, too, let me just also add to the fact that this is, I believe, Johnny Depp's first role. In the credits it says introducing Johnny Depp. So I'm assuming it's his first role in movies. He actually does a great job in this at a very, very, very young age. He is like a really fresh-faced youngster in this, and I found that his performance, not because he's Johnny Depp necessarily, and not because like I've seen him in other films, but I found his performance the most genuine out of everyone else's. So the movie itself, I'm just gonna say, honestly, guys, I don't know, I can't wrap my head around why people find this movie to be such a gigantic, epic sort of classic, and they adhere to it, and they defend it, and it's like, it's the best movie ever, and it's so scary, and this, that, the other thing. I just don't feel that way. I never did, and I never saw. I could never figure out what people were talking about when they heaped so much praise on this movie. Oh, Wes Craven, he's so awesome, and it's the scariest, and it scared me as a child, and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, I think I think we've got this syndrome where if you saw it as a child and it did affect you, I totally get it. But when you watch it now, like, keep in mind that it's just a movie, first of all. It's not that good. The effects are horrible. Like, the tongue in the phone thing, like, that's the worst. That's the worst. That was probably one of the worst effects I've ever seen. When, Heather Langenkamp is running up the stairs and it's like all marshmallow. Like, oh my God, you could see the holes in the stairs, and it's like, it's so bad. Like, the effects are so horrible. I don't know if people just overlooked it or just bought it. Honestly, I almost thought this movie was like a satire or a parody of horror movies. I think when I first saw it, I was like, I was probably a little older. I don't think I saw it when it came out. In fact, I don't recall seeing when it first came out. But like, even the music goes from like detective drama to like cheap $2 like midway spook house like music, and it's just crap. Like, it's just not good. And it's annoying. Like the music is actually very like noticeably annoying. Freddy Krueger has very little screen time in this. Robert Englund has virtually no lines at all. I think, again, when people refer to this movie as being so epic and things, I think they're recalling bits and pieces of all the other ones they've seen. And the fact that Freddy Krueger developed as a character, and to me, not in a good way either. I thought it was really campy, like the one-liners and the jokes and the cliched like puns and all that stuff. I'm just not a fan. I'm not. I can't. You know when you go in trying to like something, and you're like, I'm gonna give it everything. I'm gonna give it every consideration I possibly can. I've done that several times, and then I keep going back to it and going, did I miss something, man? And every time I watch it, I think that, because people just kiss the ass of this movie so fervently, and it's crazy. Like, near the end, there are parts where I literally laughed out loud. Like, there's the part where Heather Langenkamp opens her door to leave her bedroom and sees her mom in the hall going to the linen closet, grabbing another bottle of vodka and leaning up against the wall and glug, glug, glug. I just thought that was so hilarious. And then when Johnny Depp dies in this excessive, obvious, I don't even know how to describe it without going okay, this is obviously a supernatural thing. Why are we still tiptoeing around this? This literally blood vortex. And then her father, again, Heather Langenkamp is in her room, and, she's looking down at the scene, and all the cops are there. It's literally across the street. And her father comes, which you never see him. You just see it he's just this cop. You never see him a part of the family or anything. He comes in, he's on the lawn, and he turns and sees his daughter. He's like, "Hi, honey," and they just wave at each other. And I just thought that was so hilarious. It was so funny to me. He's this horrible thing just happened that she's so much of a part of, and he's like, "Hi," and it's what? It seemed to me like something right out of The Simpsons. It was so hilarious to me. And then what else was there? There was something else. I couldn't. Oh my God! When and I don't know which movie came first, honestly, right now off the top of my head, but whether Home Alone came first or this, but Heather Langenkamp actually Home Alone's Freddy and rigs up all these traps around the house. Well, okay, her mother's pretty much drunk and out of it, but still she's doing all this stuff. Anyway, it's kind of funny. She just rigs up the house while her mother's there, and Freddy comes in and he opens the door and first of all, and there's so many questions in here too. he just appears in places and nobody's got to use the door. Is it because he's physical now? But what about when he was on the phone? Like, she wasn't dreaming then? I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of weird questions. But anyway, when he opens the door to her room and, like, the sledgehammer hits him in the stomach and then he falls down the stairs, he's like, And I just thought that was, like, so hilarious. And I wondered how people thought this was scary. I'm like, God damn it, I don't find anything about this scary. Like, the jump scares, man, you can't do a movie with just jump scares. Like, that's the cheapest, that's like puns. Like, puns are the cheapest form of comedy. And, like, here's jump scares only. There's nothing scary about this. You're taking dreams. Like, there's so much material there. There's vistas. There's an unending territory of horror there, and this is like the most they could do with it. Maybe the budget was shit, I don't know, but the budget had to be garbage because the effects were so horrible. So again, I'm not liking this movie on so many levels. Like, there's parts where Freddy's either fighting with Heather Langenkamp or chasing her, and she's like running away, and nothing. There was no sense of urgency whatsoever to me. So there it is. I can't help it, guys. Like, maybe take a look at the movie again, then look in the mirror and go, did I really find that scary, or did I really find that frightening? How did I really look at yourself and go, did I really find that as good as I thought it was? Now, on to the second one, or the reboot, by the way. Nightmare on Elm Street, the reboot. So, the tagline is never sleep again. Anywho, you know what? I have to say, and I know this is even going to pile more shit on top of me. I know I'm burying myself even deeper. But I honestly like this movie better than the original. That's not saying much. Now, if you're taking an original concept that is supposed to be remembered as one of the most epic horror movies of all time, and fondly remembered as such, and so scary and so, whatever, you've got your work pretty much done for you. What else you got to do? This movie was absolutely adequate. As far as a horror movie goes, it was lackadaisical. It wasn't. I didn't find it frightening. I found it a little more aware of itself. And I'm really surprised that Rooney Mara is in this. She seems very out of place in this film. Simply because she's so far above the material. Jackie Earle Haley plays Freddy Krueger in this. He's not bad. He's actually pretty good. He plays himself. He plays the role relatively creepy. He's got a good delivery. It's hard. It's hard to fill the boots of the original because there's so much material there, right? So I guess if you didn't know anything about any of the other Nightmare on Elm Street movies, this movie is okay. I find the mood is a little darker. There's sort of hints of child molestation, which I actually like in terms of it being a little more serious and a little more scary that way. This was a rated R movie. I'm not sure what the rating was for the original, but it seemed like it honestly seemed like it was a family movie because of the least amount of scares or swears or okay, there was a lot of blood and gore, or there was blood and gore, but not to the point where it was like, oh my god, it was so offensive. The reboot was a little more visceral. There was much more gore and blood. There was more sort of swearing and, you know, foul language and things like that. Clancy Brown is in it. He has like a very throwaway role, which is unfortunate. So, I mean, saying I liked it better than the original, like I said, is not saying much. I find it a better, a better realized film. Only because you have the original to go from. So you can make it darker. Like, I found some of the things in the original was like, that bothered me was like, it took place in like LA or something. There was like palm trees and things. I'm not saying put everything in like, you know, Maine or whatever, like Stephen King or whatnot. But like, there are spookier places on Earth, you know. I just found like putting in this California setting, it didn't do what, say, like Midsummer did in terms of like, oh, it's in the bright sunshine and there's horror stuff. It didn't do that. It was just like, oh, it's a backdrop. We just decided to put it here. And by the way, there's horror. And you know, every time like, you know, they go into the the only time where it's like really dark and moody is when they go into the boiler room or boiler facility. It's like this endless boiler factory of whatever. In basically, I think in both movies it's kind of the same. So anyway, like I said, like the second movie isn't really that much better. Did it need to be made? You know, for newer audiences, maybe. Because I'm telling you, man, like, watch it again if you don't believe me, but the original is extremely dated. And, you know, I'm talking, like, when you look at movies like The Thing and Predator and stuff like that, those movies were done a long time ago. They're not dated at all. You know, those movies look like they were shot yesterday. I'm even thinking of like what, you know, things I've seen recently, like Scanners. Man, like there's a lot of movies that are old movies that look like they've been shot yesterday. You know, or they look like, oh well, okay, you know, maybe the period's there, but it's not dated. You know. So anyway, again, like I can't really defend either movie. I know people are going to hate the fact that I didn't like the original. And it's like, oh, well, Rob, you should because you're a horror guy and you grew up with it and blah, blah, blah and all this stuff. How could you do this? I just didn't. I watched it again, man. And every time I watch it, every single time I watch it, I think, what did I miss? Why am I not liking this? I have to like it, don't I? And I don't. I just don't. And the second one, when I say second one, I mean Reboot. The Reboot is just not doing it for me either. Like, you know, for two movies that basically say like, don't fall asleep. I fell asleep an awful lot during these movies. I would nod off and I go like, shit, I gotta rewind it or something. And so yeah, that's my review, guys. I'm sorry, not sorry. It's one of those kind of deals. Yeah, like I dig the Freddy Krueger character. I think Wes Craven kind of, Wes Craven sort of applauded as this amazing director and you know, horror genre guy. You know, I'm not a fan of his stuff. I have to be honest. Like, they're not movies that I like. I'm not a big slasher guy. I'm not a big slasher film guy. If you're gonna do a slasher movie, you gotta give me a little bit more than just a guy with a knife that slashes people up. You know, I like the supernatural connotation. I like the fact that this is supernatural, that Nightmare on Elm Street is, and you have this really disfigured character that is supernatural, that does the killing. I like Jason because of the fact that he's a supernatural sort of being now. He's like a zombie basically. So I kind of dig that. I like that angle added to the slasher thing. Straight up slashers. I mean, I can count on one hand how many slasher movies I like. And American Psycho is always going to be number one on that list. You know, so I'm not a big fan of the slasher movies. Scream. holy shit, I can't, I'm not a fan of that at all. And I find, again, in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, there's a lot of plotting, looking around corners and trying to find stuff and walking around and like, it's just boring stuff to me. And it's all for this one payoff where you finally see the character now, or it's a jump scare and it's all over. It's just not something I dig. Like, I need more. I need different aspects. Give me something more than just this straight ahead thing. Somebody chasing someone just to kill them. Yawn, man. I love body horror stuff. I really love that kind of stuff too. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Suffice to say, guys, that this is a very honest review. I'm putting a lot on the line in terms of like me, giving my opinion that maybe not that popular, but I have to be honest, and that's all I can, that's all I can be. If you enjoyed these movies, that's awesome. I am not shitting on these movies and trying to get you not to like them, by the way. I'm just trying to impress upon you the idea that I didn't like them because of this. These are the reasons I don't, even though maybe I should. So that's that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Please check out my Patreon page. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. And the only reason why I'm saying that, the only reason why I'm trying to get you to go to my Patreon page is because I put new material on there every single day. It is like the biggest art page of all time. I've been putting new art on there every single day for the past 11 years plus. So there was so much artwork to see, and new artwork. It's not stuff you're not going to see 2007 or whatever in the on the date in there. You're going to see this is like done today. So please check that out. I love you guys. Please stay safe and healthy and let's flatten that curve. Let's help our healthcare professionals as much as possible. And that's all I'm going to really say. Okay? I love you guys. I'll see you again very soon. All right. Take care.